You feel this nervousness on the phone there?
Sir, I've been trying to make an urgent phone call up there.
Well, I don't think it's something I want to do on an overseas phone.
You gotta make some phone calls. Hang up the phone. Prank caller. Prank caller.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Packernet After Dark. This is the call-in show of the Packernet Podcast Network. If you'd like to call in, if you'd like to participate in the show, please feel free to do so. The phone number here is 608-501-0718. New callers go directly to the front of the line. We don't have any new callers, but we got Garrett.
Hey, Ryan. It's Garrett from Southern Illinois.
What's up?
I just thought I'd give you a mock draft of a different kind, and it's the, if we were going to do a draft of the top 10 best-rated podcasts for Packers content. So here we go. I'll keep it sweet so that it's under 3 minutes. All right. Number one for high-quality content and likability of the host and best ratings for viewers, it's Locked On Packers by Peter Bukowski. Number two, Blue 58. Number three, Full Press. Number four, Tales of the Tundra. Number five, really would have thought this one would have been higher, but Pack-A-Day by Andy Herman. Number six, No Huddle Radio. Number seven, Pack What She Said. Number eight, something we're finally getting into something we're familiar with, but the ratings just aren't quite there. Derailed. Number nine, for its content and viewership is PTA. And number 10, something that we all are very familiar with is Packernet After Dark. So congratulations, Ryan. You did break the top 10
Yes.
of the top-rated podcast in Packerdom. So a little disappointed you came in number 10, but, you know, the PFF scores and viewerships and all that just kind of dumps you down there in number 10. So kind of disappointed in that. I think you can do better. So we all expected a lot more of you, and maybe next season you'll improve a little bit, and we'll get a little bit better Roy out of you. So just try to do a little better, Ryan. Let's try to do a show every day, like Pack-A-Day, and maybe your numbers will go up a little bit. So, anyways, April Fools, gotcha. You're number one in our hearts and minds, Ryan, and nothing will ever change that. So, just take it for what it is. It's April Fools, gotcha. It was a prank call. I'm out.
I got to be honest, it's April 3rd for me, and I was really unsure where that was going. I was trying to think. I'm working on something else over here, but I was obviously still listening, and I'm like, is this like an official thing? I must have missed that, like an actual ranking somewhere. And then, I don't know, I was like, what the heck is going on here? But I get it now. It's April Fool's. That's good old freaking. All my kids did was cry during April Fool's because somebody wanted to do a prank and the other person didn't like the prank, and then somebody else wanted to do a prank, but then somebody told, "Oh no, Dad, it's not a spider. It's a rubber bat." Why did you tell him that? It's the dumbest thing ever. I will say, I just I don't know if you saw it on X. I retweeted it, quote tweeted it, whatever. I said, I saw the only ever good April Fool's Day prank ever in my life. And a girl taped a sign on the back of her mom's car as she was riding with her that said, "Honk at my mom and give her the finger." It's an April Fool's prank or whatever. And it's just a video of people honking and giving the finger to this lady. And she's flipping out. Like, what is going on? She starts flipping the drivers off back. That was pretty good, man. That was good stuff. That right there is a prank.
Brian, how you doing? This is Nico in Idaho. Just six-ish.
For the record, I hope this is not like April Fool's 24/7. This is from Wednesday, so I don't think so.
Shelf. My wife told me some shelf was broken, and I fixed it. And I didn't even tell her I was going to do it, so I should be getting like massive props when she gets home from work. But
yeah.
Hey, just want to let you know that it is what 2025. It's okay. All right. you don't have to feel weird. It's not weird that you were looking at a picture of Aaron Rodgers and you said the word nudes. Not at all. Not at all. We don't judge. We don't judge here. No one judges here. So it's okay. All right? You might feel a little icky inside, but that's on you, honestly. But no, I'm being serious, seriously. It's okay, Brian. I almost called you Brian. That's pretty bad. I'm sorry about that. It's okay, Ryan. We got you back. We might do it from a distance, but that's beside the point and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm going to stop talking, because sometimes when I ramble, I say super inappropriate things.
Tell me
and
about it.
I don't want to get banned and stuff, because I have that ability, to be totally honest. Anyways, hey, go Pack Go, and it's okay,
Mm-hmm.
If you have a bunch of copies of the Crying Game, no one is going to judge you, okay? It's definitely a movie. We've done movie talk. I don't know if anyone's ever mentioned that movie. But hey, anyways, I don't know why I mentioned it. Hey, whoops, I got to go.
Way to go on mentioning stuff that I honestly don't even know what it is. But no, it's not okay, actually, Nico. It's not okay that I said that. It's weird, and I'm ashamed of myself. So there you go.
Hey, Ryan, that's Drew from Green Bay. And technically I live in Lebanon, and when I'm talking to you often, I'm actually looking out my window, and I can see the big G and on Lambeau Field. So I'm like half a mile from the stadium. And so, I'll definitely be hitting up the draft at some point, because I want to see at the very least how it all turns out, what all the activities are and all that. I think someone told me that Saturday some of the activities are going to start closing down. I'm not sure if that's actually true, but something worth looking into for people who think they're going to do all the activities on Saturday. I'm not sure how late they're going to stay up. But I think Friday's actually the day to go, or Thursday's actually the day to go, because you go in the morning, I know there's going to be a lot of people, but does that really matter? Like, you really care that much about doing all the activities? No, it's about being there, it's about taking it in and all that, and maybe your kid wants to go on some things, but whatever there is to do, but it's not like the end of the world if you have to stand in line too, because you're talking football, right? You just start talking football with the people around you. And also, like, for me personally, because I'm a big draft guy, I would rather miss day one than miss day two. Like, round 2 and 3 are like the most interesting rounds.
That is a fun one.
Because
it's nice because it's probably what you're gonna say, but it's a longer thing. You get more picks, and it's still like the good picks. Day 3 is like the coolest because it's the most picks, but you don't really know, and you don't really have high expectations. Day 1 is kind of cool, but it takes forever, and you get one pick. And if you're a Packer fan, you're probably usually a little disappointed by it, but it is what it is.
There's so many players, there's so many things that can happen, and that's where you really start like getting to the point where GMs separate themselves, because you're kind of running out of top talent, and if you nail that pick, it's like a big deal. And if you just get into like the guys who aren't going to work out as much, then that's why we see a huge fall off from round 2 to round 3 even. So round 1, over half of the players are working out easily. So I think Thursday is actually the day to go. And the other thing I say is I went to the Titletown district for the Brazil game, and they had TVs everywhere. And there were a lot of TVs nobody was looking at. Now, I know it's not as big, but, like, I think everyone's going to start huddling around the tent where it's called off. And if you just go to the other side, there's going to be all kinds of tents, or all kinds of TVs. And I think if you just, like, say you and your...
3 minutes got let's go to part 2.
Hey, it's Drew, part 2. Yeah, so, if you find a couple fans and you huddle around one of the TVs that doesn't have as many people, and you're watching the Friday pick, that'd be pretty cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think a lot of people are going to clear out. There's traffic is, obviously going to be bad, but people are planning to take shuttles and Ubers, and so it's not like, I think it's going to be a lot better than people think. And, this is a pretty big area that they have. I mean, it's around the whole stadium, They're even putting stuff like literally on the road, and people can just walk in the road, and like, it's kind of like a game, but and when they say like 1 million people visit, or 750,000 people visit, or whatever, that's over the whole weekend. I think it's like 250,000 was day one for Detroit, right? So yeah, it is a big event, but it's a one-time thing. And then yes, right. If you really don't want to be there for the picks, just go to like a hotel or something. Obviously you'd have to plan that, but I can tell you're gonna go because every time someone mentions Colin, then you're like, oh, and that's how I know you're gonna. So you might as well plan it now, because you're not gonna deprive Colin of such a great event. And yeah, that's a little guilt trip too, but a little hidden there. But no, bring your money to Green Bay, spend it here, help out the community, help out the Packers, and it'll be a good time. All right. But I will say, I would suggest starting to plan so you have if you come last minute, you're not going to have as fun, I don't think. So, all right. Have a good day. Bye.
Yeah, I think assuming that happens, and there's a better chance that I'm leading on just because of exactly what you said. But again, it's going to come down to, the wife and the plans and all that. And more than likely, my wife is going to tell me, you have to go, or we have to go. I don't know how that's going to plan out, but I know I had talked to Clayton about it, and they've got a place out there, so that would be a place to at least park, and then, could walk over and go back and get my car. So at least that'll be sorted out, because that'll be an absolute zoo. And just, the way I get sort of a overthinker kind of person, that's where the anxiety comes from. So rather than just doing, it's like, well, I mean, I got to figure out how to get there, and where am I actually going? Where am I driving to? I can't drive to the stadium. That street's probably blocked off, so I got to and I got to figure out where I want to go, and what do you do over here, and then it's but if it's just like, yeah, drive to this location, park here, and then you can walk, it's like, okay, well that kind of simplifies stuff a little bit. But yeah, all right. We got 6 more calls. We'll do 3 and 3. We'll take a break. We got Uncle Rico on the other side.
Yo, Ryan, it's your Uncle Rico.
What's up?
What's up, broski? Yeah. The draft is in Green Bay, Wisconsin. I was, like you, pretty jacked when I heard about it. I was like, let's go! But, yeah, then life happens. I don't have time. Too many freaking bajillion things to do, and no time for a 1 day, 2 day, or 3 day jaunt. I got a buddy that lives in the area, so it would work out, but yeah, just no time. Anyway, you guys just talked in, called, somebody called it, I don't even, movies, you're talking about movies. Draft day, Ryan. I told you need to watch Draft Day.
It's crazy. I haven't seen it. I was actually just, I think yesterday, trying to think of what the heck is the name of that movie that I've never watched, that everybody says you have to watch, and it's like a tradition for every single draft fan, whether it's on draft day or during draft time or whatever. Everybody has to go through it, and it's like, yeah, I should probably watch that, but I don't know, just have never done it, so there's that.
It's a fun movie. I think you would enjoy it. I don't know why you won't watch it. You're so stubborn.
I'm
going to call your mom. All right. Later, dude. Have a good whatever's coming up, because I don't know what day it's going to get popped here. Good weekend coming up. I think have a good weekend, buddy. All right. Later, y'all. Go Pack, go.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I am stubborn. It's just one of those things that I don't know why I don't think I'm going to necessarily like it. There's certain movies where it's like I'm taking my medicine. I'll be honest, I went through and watched almost all the Predator movies. It's okay, you know. I think most people agree the first one's good. I think it's like first, third, and fifth are good, and then the second and fourth are dog crap, is kind of the way that goes. I watched the first one, I'm like, okay, it's a pretty good movie. It's the original, you know, whatever. Watched the second one, I knew it was going to suck, and it was not good. I mean, although I remember watching it, so it was kind of cool, and it's very 80s, early 90s kind of a vibe to it in the city and all that. So it was okay, especially since I was expecting something terrible. I don't even remember what the next one was, honestly. Was that In Space or something? And then freaking the other one that was supposed to suck was kind of like slapstick comedy or whatever, which actually some of it was okay. Usually don't like comedy in action, but some of it kind of worked for me. And then the last one, which was kind of all culminating and building up to, I found it and I turned it on and it didn't have subtitles, and I'm like, well, I give up. I'm not continuing this because it's okay, but it's just not 100% my thing. And I hate even saying that because Predator's iconic and it's cool, like in theory, but it's just an okay movie. And watching 5 of them, like back to back to back to back to back. But I did it because it felt weird that I haven't seen the original Predator in decades. I haven't seen any Predator in decades. I don't remember anything from Predator. And I haven't even seen most of them. I've seen 2 of them. So, you know, it's like we're going to do this. And yeah, it can be painful. The point is that's on the list of where it's like I have to do it, but I just don't really want to, and so I just don't. But I'll have to do that. If I can watch 4 Predator movies, I can probably figure out how to sit down and watch Draft Day.
Yo, Ryan, it's your Uncle Rico. I'm calling back.
Yo,
because Andy keeps calling you with things.
Okay.
Like movies and Natty Light, and now not doing things at the combine. That really annoys me, that not doing things at the combine. When these guys go to the combine, these prospects, or maybe they're pro day or whatever, even, I don't know, where they don't do, like, oh, I'm not going to do the 40, or I'm not going to do the agility drill, or, God, it really annoys me. Can you imagine? They're such babies. I'm going to call them babies. I don't know what you would call them. It's just very annoying. I mean, as a scout or a GM, I'd scratch them right off my list. Oh, you're not going to do that? Well, you're scared to do that? You might not do well at that skill? That just tells me, that to me is right there is the thing. You won't do the agility drill because you stink at the agility drill, because you have no agility, so you're off my list. Can you imagine somebody doing that back in the day? One of the old school scouts, Vince Lombardi or whoever, goes to check out a player. It's like, hey, you want to do that drill there for me? See what you got? Nah, I'm not going to do that. What? Excuse me? You're not? What? Yeah, it's so wild. It's a whole new world, and I'm not a big fan of it. I think men should play football and not whatever those people are who won't do what. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. All right, John. Rico out. I'm old. Rico's old. Later.
Yeah, I can get it in certain contexts, skipping games, and if you're like the top pick or whatever. I just thought it was kind of abrasive of a middle of the first round prospect to have the gall to just be like, nah, I ain't doing it because I'm really not interested in most of the teams around here, I'm just kind of targeting. If like, you don't target people, bro, we target you. So yeah, that to me seems like a personality defect. Not a huge fan.
Hey, Ryan, Richie's Benny. Just responding to what you said about Brian Gutekunst, what he said, like, you know, what should he say? Well, this is what he should have said. He should have said, yeah, you know, while our pass rush wasn't very effective, we couldn't get home with all four. I do have confidence that those guys can improve, and we are looking for other ways in which we can improve this pass rush defense, whether that's, you know, through the draft or, you know, seeing what's out there, what we can get, you know, in terms of a veteran presence or something of the sort. To me, it's like when you say, I've already said this, but like when you say we have to ramp up the urgency to win, and your pass rush was the way it was, and yes, I know these guys are actually at decent numbers, and I know that freaking pass rush is not all about sacks, but, you know, to me it seemed like, I just think maybe some of our guys that weren't getting as much playing time should be playing more, like Brenton Cox and Mosby. Like, I feel like when Gary was out, a lot of the D-line actually, like, on the edge got more pressure. And I'm not knocking Rashawn. It's just that I think Rashawn Gary plays too much, man. And, like, I think if we mix it up more, it'll be good. And, you know, I think this is the year Lucas Van Ness really needs to step up. And this is what we're going to see if he's good enough or not. All right, like we've already had the 4-3 for a year, so now it's about time they figure it out. And you could see the progression through the year with the 4-3. Guys were getting a little bit better with it, but some guys are just not built for it, you know. But I just don't believe that drafting an edge rusher is going to really fix this.
Yeah.
It could, but I just don't see it happening. You know, I think, and then. So that's that, right? And quickly, just about the draft. I think if Jair is back...
one second. So, trying to think about everything you said, all encompassing. As far as what he should have said, he basically said all of that with the one caveat being he didn't say we're exploring other options, which, you know, if there were a follow-up question of are you willing to look at other options... or are you, you know, looking at any edge rushers or, edge rushers, defensive tackles in free agency or the draft? I mean, he would have said yes. I mean, that's, you know, one of the, and I know you know that, but it's one of the points I've been hammering home is just to not have this weird notion that, like, he's just refusing, you know, because that's sort of when you read the comments and stuff on social media, that's what it seems like people feel like is, he's saying, I don't want to go get anybody else because we're perfectly fine. There's no universe where they're just like, just take all the edge rushers and defensive tackles off the draft board. We're not drafting any. They don't do that for any position ever. And yeah, guys like Brenton Cox and whatnot did start to get more time. They weren't even playing because we had so many guys. And then when the injuries started happening, / when we got rid of Preston, these guys started to get more opportunities and they were impressive. And I haven't really looked at it yet. But just by virtue of that, they obviously got more time. I'm pretty sure Lucas Van Ness's snaps did start to decrease over time, too. But yeah, I mean, one guy is not going to fix the problem, whether that's a free agent or a draft pick or whatever. Just like two guys isn't going to necessarily fix it unless you get like a home run or something, as I've said. But that's where really the only way that this actually gets improved is if everybody just gets better. Because if everybody just stays garbage, I don't care who you go get. Everybody else sucks. So, I mean, I get it to a degree. I think my frustration came from the shocking level of outrage. Like, this is fireable. It's like, what are you even talking about, guys? I don't understand. I'm not saying you said that. That was just constantly the stuff like that. You know, this guy's a joke and this is ridiculous. And it's like, what is ridiculous? I don't understand. I don't know. Again, like I asked you what you wished you had said, and you told me what you wished you had said, and again, like it's very nuanced and subtle difference that really doesn't warrant a ton of outrage, especially since, again, if there was a follow-up question, he would have just said what you wanted him to say. He just didn't happen to say it in that sentence.
I don't think they draft a corner because they got Hobbs and everything, and I think they're going to have confidence in that room. And I kind of have confidence in it, too. But then what I would think they would do is just go, either wide receiver, D-line, or D-line, then a wide receiver in the second round, because I think a lot of these receivers can drop to us. But I do love Matthew Golden. I would like that if they did that in the first round, or if anyone really dropped to us. That's like kind of in the top, 50 or whatever, top 30 in terms of the big board. But anyways, see you.
I guess he hung up there. Yeah, I mean, again, I would just change the language on that. It may be that they're feeling less urgency at corner. Not going to draft a corner. I can't get behind that because now they're not going to draft an edge rusher, a defensive tackle, a corner. We know they're not going to do kicker and punter and long. We start ruling stuff out in quarterback. We're getting to the point where it's like, well, it has to be one of these three positions. And it's like, I don't know. I mean, again, if we play that, people probably should be much more excited because it, again, just kind of narrows it down to wide receiver. Like that's the thing. But again, that's the reason why it's not going to happen. Not saying not going to draft a wide receiver. I just mean the reason it's not true that they're not going to do these certain things is they're not going to refuse to just put themselves in a position to be able to take the best player available, which is their goal by this time of year, is to not be panicked about anything. And that's a lot of what he was conveying with the pass rush thing. We're not panicked about pass rush. We're not panicked about corner. We're not panicked about wide receiver. He'd give probably a similar response to just about any position, because that's the goal, is to get into a spot right now where we have enough faith in our team so that we don't have to be desperate, so that we can draft the best players available. Again, that's going to be always a little bit iffy. That's why it always looks like it's a needs-based draft all the time, because they have guys listed on tiers. And so of these three prospects that we have similarly graded, now we're going to start picking based on our biggest need or whatever, or highest upside or whatever their criteria happens to be. But that's why you never see super random stuff. Like why did the Packers, who are loaded at running back, take Omarion Hampton? It's like, well, that was the best guy on our board. Like, that's not going to happen. But just looking at the way things are laid out, and it works against us as far as wide receiver as well, there's not a ton of corners that make a massive amount of sense. There are some that you could argue for, but, the days of like Benjamin Morrison and Siobhan Revel and whatnot being right there along with the guys that are currently there and it being a big pile of corners. I mean, the Packers might still love those guys and take them in the first. It's still possible, but it's looking less and less likely. And again, you got a bunch of defensive linemen like crazy. We'll see how it all falls to us. But yeah, it's there's always the first question of what are they going to do, and the second question of, okay, then who, right? What is the most likely high-value prospect to be there at 23? All right, let's take our final break. We got 3 from Garrett, and then we're out of here.
Hey, Ryan, it's Garrett from Southern Illinois.
Yo.
Hey, I wanted to say I really appreciate just the honest, level-headed explanation to what Goody has been doing in free agency ever since he talked about how the pass rush wasn't good enough. And I know I was one of those who thought, okay, well, him saying there's urgency and then saying that, I thought, okay, he's not happy with the performance, and he's going to do something about it.
And to be fair, I did too. And that only really changed, not because of Gutekunst, but because I saw the free agent market and thought there's probably not that much available. It wasn't really until I heard his comments that it was like, oh, okay. Right? But instead of going, well, then you're an idiot, it was just sort of I guess I misunderstood you, and now that you say it, I guess it kind of makes sense. And it would have been nice to do something, but there was no options anyway. So even if I disagreed with you, what could I possibly be mad about? Because there's nothing that I wish you would have done anyways.
And like I said, we never know exactly what the context is or what he's thinking because he's not going to explain it. You know, why would he show all his cards to everybody? I mean, that's just, you've explained that before. It's like a general manager never shows his cards. And, I mean, the best way I can say I'm looking at this is it would be like someone coming over to your house for dinner and everybody's like, this was not what we were expecting. And you get up and stand up and say, and, you know, your wife's right there who cooked the meal, saying that was not good enough. There's a sense of urgency here. We're going to do something about it. Now, who in their right mind would think that you're going to go out and get another wife who can cook better? You know what I mean? Maybe they didn't know that you had her cook the whole entire meal in the microwave instead of a KitchenAid Elite Series stove and oven. Maybe that's why the food was bad. So go out and get her a better stove, then the food's going to be better. You know? So, I mean, we need to stop jumping to conclusions. We need to think level-headed.
Just calm down, I think, is
I just believe that we've got to trust the process. And even though, I mean, I'll point out, you know, the fact that, you know, the 2021 draft that Goody had is not panning out great at all. There's only one player left in that entire draft of 2021, and that's McDuffie. So, you know, I would really like to see you go back, Ryan, and maybe grade all of his drafts of how many players are still with the Packers, how many got Pro Bowls, how many players were a starter, and just go down and with your own grading system, just grade all of his drafts before the next one to give us a honest and truthful analysis of how well he actually has been doing. I know that last year's draft is still in flux, you know, it's still in process, but we can at least see the, you know, first year stats of everybody. And so if you can pull that off, Ryan, I would really appreciate it if you could just give us maybe an analysis of all of Goody's previous drafts and an honest grade system, considering we've, you know, can look back and kind of get an idea. Part two, I would really like to see you have everyone in your family, with the assistance of an adult if necessary, go through and do a mock draft of their players that they think Green Bay will draft. And after the draft is completed, go back and see who was the most accurate in choosing the draft.
Yeah.
Because I'd be willing to bet, you know, you and Colin are probably right up there as far as the most knowledgeable. But we all know how Goody sometimes manages to pick people that we had no idea that he was going to pick. And I'm just kind of curious if someone who's really out of touch with football or who is just a entry-level knowledge football person in your family, if they might actually pick more accurately than you. So why don't you do the whole family and store that all away, and then after the draft, come back and give your reveal who actually was the closest, you know, from first to last. I'm out.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's, I mean, the odds that Cullen and I end up better than everybody else are pretty low, you know? I mean, assuming we're doing like a simulator where you just kind of grab something, the value shouldn't be off. So it really just becomes a question of positional value. And if we offer zero help, then maybe we have a slight edge, but not much of one. So, yeah, I think that would be a good exercise in just kind of demonstrating how little knowledge any of us has, because I'm guessing that's how that would turn out. But no, it'd be funny. It'd be funny to check in on.
Part three idea. Since you kind of like the Cats in the Cradle spoof, why don't you do your own AI version, enter all your information that is necessary about you and your son and Green Bay draft, and see what AI comes up with. I would be very interested to see how
that's how we're going to go out today.
Because I'm sure it can sing a lot better than I can. So let's do that.
All right, that's what we're going to do. Appreciate the recommendation, Garrett. We're going to leave it at that. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Recording late, another Packers take. My son asked Dad, can we throw the ball today? Just one more segment, I promise, with a smile. After this podcast, we'll play for a while. But the draft tickets came in the mail. Green Bay calling, but my schedule's set to fail. Too many episodes, too many shows. The moments we're missing as he grows. Dad, will you teach me to grill like you do? Soon, I said, got a draft preview. Headphones on, talking trades and picks, while he waits patiently with charcoal and sticks. He wears my jersey number, knows every player's name, watches all my podcasts, feels part of the game. But what he really wants is time, not talk of fame. Final drafts approaching, tickets in my hand, but commitments keep me from the stands. He says it's okay, Dad, we'll watch from home instead. His understanding breaks my heart as I hang my head. This draft in Green Bay, I'm gonna be there with my son beside me. I'm clear in the air. Some things can't wait, some moments don't return. This is the lesson I'm finally learning. This draft in Green Bay, I'm gonna be there with my son beside me. I'm clear in the air. Some things can't wait, some moments don't return. This is the lesson I'm finally learning.